Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zachary Nolan.
My name is Carter Nolan.
Welcome back. Welcome. This is season 2, episode 2 of The Bad Batch.
If you are
new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on the video because it really does help us out. We really do appreciate it. We try to get maybe 10 likes on these, honestly. I mean, we know it's not our main content, but we do appreciate you tuning in. So, as we pretty much assumed and predicted, the second episode was better than the first episode for The Bad Batch.
As it is with most TV shows.
Yes.
First episode's kind of getting you introduced to what the deal is going to be, and the second episode is when a lot of the more flashy parts of that arc then get to kind of shine forward.
And then it's got a hook. It's got a hook to get you, and oh my god, there's a big hook at the end. Yeah. 5 reactions coming up. Honestly, it was a great episode. Without getting into spoiler territory quite yet, I must say that this episode was better. It was funny. It was better in some moments and less so in others. Omega's really fucking annoying in this. And that's not a spoiler. That's just a fact. Omega's really fucking annoying in this episode.
And now, they do somewhat explain it, but it's also one of those things where I hope it's one of those things like the whole thing with Ahsoka with the Clone Wars, where it's as time goes on, they become less and less annoying, and that can be explained by they get older, they mature.
But also too,
because she's also, you have to realize she's in that adolescent age, so she's gonna be annoying.
They run the risk with her being so childish, but at the same time being so morally on the high ground to the point that it's but no, you don't. Stop it. Stop it, woman! Where it's you need to find a balance there. And also, too, whenever she says for something to do something, it sounds mopey. It really does. And, it is what it is. But yeah, before we get into spoiler territory, solid episode. The action scenes are what really helped propel this episode better than the first episode. Yeah. The storylines don't move as much until the very end. Yeah. It's more of a conclusion of a 2-episode arc, and with the hook of an opening one. But yeah.
And I feel like it's a good example of one where they don't spend too much time on the arc, and where they still flush it out enough to make it feel like it wasn't rushed. So I like that.
Alright, here's your spoiler warning. Alright, so let's get our first reaction away. So obviously they fall and stuff. And they find separatist tanks. Actually, here.
Yeah. Nothing will do any damage. Just a couple of smoke bombs. 10 o'clock. Oh.
What?
Separatist tanks. Now you're talking.
Oh
shit.
That was nice, honestly. I think it was
even though they weren't necessarily really able to use them the way that they thought they would.
Right.
It was nice being able to see that callback.
Yeah.
To see stuff, references to the Clone Wars and whatnot.
So. We liked how it was a very darker palette, because they just used the dark...
Yeah, I was mentioning it reminded me a bit of Umbara in the way they did the lighting in this episode. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I loved the Umbara art, so there's no complaints with that.
So let's show now our reaction to them taking out a V-Wing. Oh!
There goes air support.
What happened to no killing?
Air support did not help.
No.
It was not.
What can I say? When you don't go for the A grade of TIE fighter.
And it's funny, and this is something that you said that I do find absolutely hilarious. So this entire time, they're using their blaster set to stun.
Yeah. And Wrecker's just cannon go burn.
Doesn't care.
What's
the point of stun? If you're just gonna blow them up.
Literally, dude flew. Dude's corpse flew. They show Wilco, the clone commander. He just looked at him he takes his helmet off to mourn him and grieve for him, and he's yeah. But yeah, no. Also, it's funny. I like the scenes with. I think this is probably They do a lot of showing and don't tell with Tech in this episode, and I really like it.
The way they show how he kind of gets bruised and beat up, but he still kind of goes, and how he actually struggles and doesn't just win super easily. I think that really does a lot. Because sometimes it can seem...
Well, he's the Donatello. He's the Donatello of this group. He's the tech support. So it's important to see his prowess. And also, too, it also shows that he can absolutely take out a gunship, which is almost terrifying in a way. Ew, what? That easily?
Bro, that looked weak as fuck. It was really interesting to see
Two
Tech,
shots.
like you were saying. That gunship
Two
should
shots.
not have
No.
went down that easy. The shields on that gunship are shit. I'm sorry. But it really kind of showed Tech outside of his comfort zone, which I felt like was the thing that was the most interesting. Like
He was
almost
they to quote wrestling, they had him selling like a motherfucker because he was holding that limp the entire episode. I was like, motherfucker, you are living that limp. Good on you. You're showing consequences and stakes. That's good. It's funny, obviously that whole arc wraps up nicely with them getting off, and then the guy stays because he gives him a fucking kaleidoscope though, so he's like, here you go. That's what it is.
It is a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, it's a fucking kaleidoscope.
He literally said it. Just
It's
has
kaleidoscope in space.
3 mirrors. I'm like, kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, then we get to pretty much my favorite scene of the episode. We get to see Admiral? Is it Admiral?
Vice Admiral Rampart.
Vice Admiral Rampart show up.
As of now, we've covered 85% of the
Oh!
but I'll check.
Hey!
Yeah, Hauser.
Hey! Hey!
Your failure to ensure the transfer of this.
That's not Hauser. That's Wilco. Wilco. And that's...
Hey.
Okay, so...
I love Rampart.
I do too. And also, too, people always forget this. This is the guy who voiced Charles Smith in Red Dead Redemption 2.
I forgot that.
He could play the nicest man and the asshole-ish of man. Yeah. Like, also, too, it's worth noting...
It's such a fitting Imperial voice.
This scene is done perfectly well because we got a lot of... Like, in the first season, we got... The Empire's main story arc was, how do we get rid of the clones? And that story arc is not totally present because it's not focused on it as much, but that's okay because you don't need to because you've set up the infrastructure for stormtroopers. Yeah. But what it does really fucking well so far is it has established ulterior motives. And the way that Imperial commanding officers act, they're like, I fucked up, but you better not find out that I fucked up.
Exactly, and this is the interesting thing about the entirety of Imperial High Command is that it's constantly one guy stepping on the next so that way he can step up. And I think actually one of the most prominent places where you see this, if you like reading the Thrawn novel, they do an excellent job of explaining this. I'm talking about the canon one. I'm sure the Legends one has a lot of this as well, but I've been reading the canon ones mainly as, everything else coming out is canon. But it does an excellent job at explaining this in the way that Thrawn goes up. But it shows just kind of how that works and whatnot. And you definitely see that with Rampart.
Yeah, no, and then he murders Wilco.
Oh my god!
Oh! Like he just straight up murders him.
Yeah.
Like it's funny too because like guys just like because he's like can't have that. Yep, sorry, can't have that in the report. He's like I'm not writing a wrong report. And he's like correct, you're not.
Bang. That's it.
Like, yeah, and that's where the episode leads off.
And the fact that they show his body drop and not just, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh boy. Oh geez.
Yeah, but I'm excited for where we go from here. And he's like, yeah, Tarkin can't learn about that one. I assume he does, like, at some point learn, and this is what gets him.
This is probably
Meh.
what gets.
But
Ron
like,
Burgundy.
yeah. But that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It really does help us out. And subscribe. And comment down below your thoughts on the episode. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
How did my father die?
Like a panther.